Hello, and today I got a quite interesting video idea. I've seen many of these YouTubers create these interesting tier lists, and I've actually found a very interesting tier list with 36 different coaster models. So now let's quickly go into this video. So first of all, we got this Kraken. Yes, that's of course the flawless roller coaster. Ooh, I have ridden the Demon at Tivoli Gardens. That's quite a boring flawless roller coaster. Very small, but it is very smooth. But I've also ridden Kraken right here, and that's a bigger one. It's more forceful, but horrible in my opinion. The roughness and the rattle just gives everything away. So the flawless coaster might get this might be highly controversial, but I'm gonna put it in mid tier. And then we got another B&M flying coaster right here. The flying coaster. I've tried Manta right here, ranked, but they are almost the same coaster. There are many clones of this flying roller coaster, but the most intense thing about these coasters are of course the pretzel loop. The pretzel loop is so crazy. The positive G's, oh my goodness. So let me think. I would actually say that the flying coaster is quite good. I'm gonna rank it above the flawless. Now we have the B&M dive coaster. We're going through all these B&Ms at the start, but that's quite okay. Dive coaster. I've tried many different dive coasters. The smaller ones, the bigger ones, those with best restraints. And I think perhaps my favorite B&M dive coaster might be SheiKra at Busch Gardens Tampa. And that's because SheiKra just has a great and big 200-foot plus vertical drop. And you also have the traditional restraints, because the newer vest restraints might be a bit uncomfy. Especially for me when I'm a tall guy. I just think they sit too tight on your body. It's better than a flawless coaster. This might be highly controversial, but I think the dive coaster is better than the flawless coasters I've ridden, of course. And then we have the wing coaster. And my opinions about these are quite mixed. I think Gatekeeper gets overhated, or is overhated. I can't really speak English, you know that. I actually got Floater on the Floater airtime hill, and the wing over drop at the start is amazing. It's quite forceful in the start, and I love the wooden head choppers with the keys. But if you look at the wing coasters over in Europe, I actually think they're quite a bit better maybe than the Americans, because we have some whippy ones, especially Phoenix at Toverland. Oh my god. Phoenix might be a very short ride, but it's very punchy, just like other B&M models. So, the wing coaster, maybe it's better than a flying coaster. I actually think so. I love wing coasters, and it's quite hard to see this one. It's just a wooden coaster, but I've looked at the other wooden coasters on these small images, and it looks like it might be the Gravity Group, this one. I can see a coaster behind it. It might look red, but I don't really know where it is. But I'm gonna assume this is a Gravity Group wooden coaster. So all the Gravity Group woodies, some of these Gravity Group woodies are really rough in my opinion, but some of those just, the intensity. It's just great having a bit of roughness, in my opinion, on wooden roller coasters, because it just adds to the intensity. And some of these Gravity Group woodies are just great, even though they rattle a bit. Especially, Tournée de Sus at Park Asterix. That's a great roller coaster, and the backward seat was amazing, but now it's unfortunately removed. And there are, of course, some roller coasters that might be too rough. Just like, Hades 360 at Mount Olympus. That's way too rough in my opinion. Gravity Group, is that a great woody? I haven't ridden that many Gravity Group woodies. I have ridden the smaller ones, they are great. And then Tournée de Sus, that's also great. But if we look at the other coasters I haven't ridden, I would call them bit some of these. So let's just take it high tier good. Yes, the English is just on point as you can hear it. Okay, let's move on. Is that Outlaw Runner? Silver Dollar City. Well, that's the topper track, because I think I can see Steel Vengeance out there. Yeah. Okay, the topper track woodies. They're just like RMC, they're whippy, they got bizarre elements. Outlaw one is quite fast-paced. It is a bit bumpy, but that doesn't really take anything away from the ride experience. Topper tracks. There's only one left in my. But I think the topper tracks are gonna go top grade, because it's an RMC. They're all great, man. And this is gonna be interesting. We got 4th dimension coaster model right here. We got 3 4th dimension coasters in the world: Ejinaika, Dino Conda, and then X2. And X2 was the original. And people say that's I can't even say worst one, but the least good one. They offer a very interesting ride experience, very bizarre, very intense. The vertical drop at the start is crazy, and all of these elements are just crazy with the control spinning on the train. So they could be amazing, because you can't really experience these coasters anywhere else. But this is just a one-of-a-kind attraction, so I might put them in amazing. But they're also quite rough, especially X2. I've heard it's a bit more rough than the other ones. That was also the last Aerodynamics product. Rest in peace, Aerodynamics. And just for aerodynamics, I'm gonna place this roller coaster in amazing. And now we actually got the surf coaster right here. Haven't really tried the surf coaster. It opened last year. Or was it this year? I don't even know. It was 2024. Okay. Let's see. The surf coaster. It has really revived the stand-up coaster model. Where would I place it? This is just a prediction, of course, because I haven't really ridden it. Based on the other reviews I've seen from it. Oh, I really love the wing coaster, so I might place it. Yeah, it's a good coaster. That's my prediction for it. And now we got a Premier Rides coaster. I can see we got, what do we call it? Icebreaker. Right beside Pipeline, the surf coaster, we got this one, and that's a Skyrocket model. Do they call it Skyrocket 4? That's Skyrocket 2, 3. I think this is a Skyrocket 4. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, because I know. Oh, I actually rode Icebreaker when it opened that year. I think it was 2022. It had comfort colors when I rode it, and the comfort colors aren't really comfy at all. That's quite ironic. But overall, the ride experience was very surprising. So I would actually place it in good. Yeah. And now we got a quite interesting coaster model right here. We got the sit-down B&M. I was in Florida, so of course I've tried Hulk the Ride. I might take that bet. It isn't amazing. It's a great coaster. It's very forceful. But you know, we got the typical B&M layout right here. Well, we got this incline launch on the Hulk, but the punch on this launch isn't even that great in my opinion because it's a tired launch. But I've also ridden Kumba, and that's another great one. Amazing, great, good. I think I'm gonna place this one in great. The sit-down thrill coasters from B&M were just, oh my goodness. I think that's the, let me see, is that the Aero Mine Train, the family coasters? These are just, some of these are great. No, not great, good. Some of these are meh and mid because they're quite janky and old. This one in meh. Get down there, please. And oh no, we got the stand-up coaster by B&M. Green Lantern, rough, intense, rattly. Have I tried other stand-up coasters? Oh, what do you... Georgia Scorcher. I think I've mentioned it in a ranking video. Wasn't really too keen about this ride experience either, because it's just a looping B&M coaster, but it's more rattly and rough because you're standing up. It's just annoying. I think I'm gonna place this in. It isn't really bad, but it isn't mid. It's under that. And now we got, oh my god, a Strata coaster by Intamin. I can see Top Thrill. No, that's not Top Thrill 2. That's Top Thrill Dragster, the OG. Rest in peace. Strata coasters by Intamin. Well, I've tried Top Thrill 2, so I have to, you know, review this coaster model. Even though Top Thrill 2 is kinda a Semperla model, I have to think about my ride experience on that one. First launch doesn't really do much. It has a bit of kick at the start, but the second rolling launch backwards and up that vertical spike, that was a crazy experience. And then you got that huge forwards launch, 193 kilometers per hour. I don't know what it is in miles per hour, but going up that top hat and that whip when it turns, it's just crazy, very intense, pacey, airtime at the top. Great, actually, a great experience in my opinion. And then we got another Intamin, the Intamin Prefab. I've actually tried the original Intamin Prefab that was Colossus Kampf der Giganten, as it's called now at Heide Park. That's a great wooden coaster, but it has a very boring, layout in the middle where it turns around, no airtime at all, and then you have this huge helix where it's just slowed down. But after that, you got the airtime hills yet again, and you voice crack. You got the airtime hills yet again, and you fly through this beast with the fire. It's awesome. And on top of that, you have El Toro, classic, intense, crazy all the way through almost, and then you also have Balder. I've tried that one at Liseberg. Great coaster, not more than great. Simple layout, airtime hills, turns. And T-Express, I haven't really tried T-Express in South Korea. That will be another day, man. I'm actually gonna place it here. Oh, no. I'm gonna place it right in front of the topper track. Yeah, RMC, they are very rare and there are better RMCs out there. Oh, and now we got the Intamin Mega Coasters, and that's the so-called hyper coasters, you know. But Intamin calls them Mega Roller Coasters. And we got Hyperia. And Hyperia for me is actually the best roller coaster in Energylandia. It's just awesome. The first drop is almost vertical, 280 feet down on the amazing sustained camelback, dive loop, whippy wave turns, and you know, everything right here. Just amazing roller coaster. But we also got the older Intamin Mega Coasters and the Superman clones, you know, with the huge helixes. They are quite good, but not much more, you know. They're not mid, they're just good, because they have some dead spots in my opinion with a lot of straight track. But then you also have Six Flags New England's Superman coaster, and that's really a great to amazing roller coaster. So is it an amazing coaster model? I might place it in great. Is it better than the prefabs? I actually think so. The Intamin Mega Coaster is prefabs in my opinion. That's also a great take. Okay. Oh no, now we got the Mack Rides Hyper Coaster right here. I can see DC rivals, and you know, I haven't really gone to Australia to try this roller coaster. But the Land of I think there's one in Land of Legends Hyperclone. That's a great coaster. Tallest vertical loop in the world. They have created 2 or 3 of these Mack Hyperclones, and they just offer a great mix of whippy inversions, small outer banks, and yeah, amazing airtime hills. And the twisted first drop is especially great in the back row. But the best Mack Rides Hypercoaster for me is of course Hyperia. That's really a very out of control ride experience. Hyperia has the best drop I've ever experienced in the world. Twisted 200 feet plus first drop, and you got this 180-degree sharp twist at the start, so it just feels like a car crash, especially in the back row. And then you got this weird turnaround element with a lot of hang time, air time, you know, yeah, but the experience is just quite short. So is the Mack Rides Hypercoaster better than the prefabs coaster? I actually think the Hypercoaster by Mack Rides is better than the prefabs, but not the Mega Coaster by Intamin. That can't really be beat. Okay, now we got I can see that the Vekoma Wildcat from my home park for Sommerland. Can't see any other new gen Vekomas on the list down here. So I might actually just say, okay, this is the new gen Vekomas, even though there are different coaster models in terms of new gen Vekomas. But we're overall talking new gen Vekomas. Energylandia has a lot of them. We have Abysses, great coaster, lengthy, a bit slow. In the end, we also have Formula, very punchy, almost better than Abysses in my opinion. And that was also the comeback Vekoma New Gen. And the Phoenix is just overall a great experience. It isn't really the most crazy with positives. It just gives decent floater pops all around, but it has crazy inversions. The stall loop is awesome for hang time. You got a whippy barrel roll, and then the awesome flip through the station, the corkscrew. So we're gonna land in great with these Vekoma New Gens. Oh, sorry, wait a minute. Where can I place it? The new gen? No, are the new gen Vekomas better than? I might actually think so, because I love airtime, and these coasters just have a better ride design overall, and you know, you have some airtime pops. No, they're not better. I'm gonna place it right here. Great coasters. New gen Vekoma, we are all in. We got SNS Air Launch. On the picture we got Max Force and all these air launches. If you check RCDB, you can see that almost every air launch coaster made by SNS are just completely standing but not operating. This ride model is just, I won't call it a failure, but the pressure launch of this air thing, I don't know what to call it. It is just so problematic. The maintenance is not more than good in my opinion. And now it's quite hard to see this coaster model. I can already see I've made some failures with that Woody one. I don't know what that is, because I can see Gravity Group right there. Is that a Wild Mouse by Mack Rides? Can't really see it. Many of these are just a meh experience. You got some sharp turns, it's janky. Some of these are awful, but I've visited Europa Park where it had a Matterhorn Mack Rides thing. But every other ride is just meh or bad. I think this is the first model going in bad. And now I'm quite confused, because I thought this was a Gravity Group coaster, but we got the Voyage right here. So I might actually take this down again, bye, and place the Gravity Group Woodies over here. And okay, let's talk about the Voyage. Amazing coaster, lengthy, most airtime on any wooden coaster, awesome experience. You have heard me talk about the other coasters also, so I think it lands in top of good. That's okay. Now we got the Extreme Spinner, and we only actually got 2 of these coasters. Time Traveler Silver Dollar City, which in my opinion is a great coaster. I would rank it at the bottom of great. But then they also made Tomorrowland's Ride to Happiness, and that's just crazy roller coaster. Holy moly. It has everything from awesome launches, hang time, bizarre elements, crazy ejector air time, and crazy whip, especially after the second launch where you go through this, what do you call it? Double inverted snake dive thing. That's the best element I've almost experienced on any coaster in the world. It's up there. I might do a video of these, and that just takes this coaster model to amazing, actually the top of amazing. The potential for this coaster model is just holy moly. Imagine if they make coasters better than Ride to Happiness. And Ride to Happiness is also a contender for the world's best coaster. But moving on, we got another Mack Rides project. We got Blue Fire right here, so that's the launched coaster by Mack Rides. Blue Fire overall, Good experience, almost mid in my opinion. Mild forces, decent lengthy layout. The only thing that drags this coaster up in good for me is the last inversion. It feels like a bit milder version of the Mosasaurus roll, but perhaps one of the best inversions in the world actually. And we also got Helix, not amazing coaster in my opinion, but great coaster. And we also got Copperhead Strike, which is a completely different coaster. The launch coaster by Mark Rice is just... that's their take on the Intamin Blitz, or the so-called LSM coaster as they call it right now. The Vekona Nugents. But I actually think I'm gonna place Blue Fire right there. Great coaster model. Launch coaster by Mark Rice is just great. Now it's gonna be difficult because now we got the Gerstlauer, and that's the Eurofighter, because I can see Takabisha right there. That's quite a difficult coaster to rank because insane layout, just like TMNT Shell Racer, beyond vertical drop, one of the steepest in the world. Big drawn out loops, banana rolls, tense launch. Many of these Gerstlauers are just quite rough and rattly. But I've also ridden Flug von Novgorod, Hansepark, and that might be one of the best Gerstlauer Eurofighters in the world. There are many Eurofighters out there. Some of these are just bad. No, not bad, just meh. There's also some great and good ones. So I won't call the Gerstlauer Eurofighter mid because they really know what to do with a small scale ride area. So I would place it good. Is it better than a wing coaster? Actually place it. The roughness on the Gerstlauer Eurofighters are very... some of these you can survive. All the ride is probably one of the worst and most rough experiences I've ever tried on a roller coaster. But you also have some great ones, coasters. Just like Disney, they can build old Vekoma loopers and they're very smooth to this day, but there are also some Vekoma loopers that are just horrible. But moving on, we got the Infinity Coaster by Gerstlauer, and this really is a great coaster model. The lap bars on these are insane. You can actually compare their lap bars to the B&M hypercoasters, the clamshells. I don't know, they don't just sit tight, but you know, they are closer to the knees than your, yeah, you know what I mean, than your hips. They just offer awesome ride experience, very special technical elements, and perhaps the best one of these is Swedish Cannon. I really love Swedish Cannon. Great roller coaster, and people talk about the roughness. It's a bit of rattle on Swedish Cannon, but not really much. I can't really feel it when I'm riding this coaster because it's just so insane. And overall, there are just many Infinity coasters that are great. Swedish Cannon, amazing. Other ones better than a Strata coaster. Yeah, that's a short experience, of course. Better than the launch coasters. Right? Yeah. I actually love it. Ooh, I think I'm gonna place it. I love the Infinity coaster, the best model from Gerstlauer. And now I can see Olympia looping right here. So that's the old Schwarzkopf looping coasters. Olympia looping is a great coaster, great inversions, positive G-force heavy. You got some whip on some drops. I've also tried a Schwarzkopf looping coaster at Hansepark. That's also a decent experience. A vertical loop, turn around, you got another great drop, especially in the back row. Just overall a classic roller coaster in my opinion. But they aren't really much more than good. But would I ride Icebreaker again or at Schwarzkopf looping? Ooh, that's quite interesting. Perhaps I would place it here at the bottom of good as of now. Now we got another classic roller coaster, Aerodynamics looping coasters, the pioneers of roller coaster engineering right here. If we look at today's standards, you can say that these coasters are quite bad and rattly. They're also quite intense. I've tried some of these, but mostly I've tried the Vekoma, you know, the Vekoma copy, their layout and their track to create some of these types of rides back in the day. But the aerodynamic coasters, I would place it at the bottom of meh because it still has some intensity and whip. Very rough. And now we got the B&M invert, and I really love these B&M inverts. I have never tried a B&M invert where I left the ride thinking that was quite boring, that wasn't good, that was mid. All of these B&M inverts are just good to amazing in my opinion. Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa is perhaps my favorite B&M invert in the whole world. And then you got Catuna Mirbelandia in Italy. That's almost just as good as Montu. The first drop, airtime in the back row, intense speedy moments low to the ground combined with these strong positive G-forces. Overall just, is it an amazing coaster model? I don't really think so. But the positive G-forces, I can feel them. Some of these coasters that people say have positive G-forces, I can't really feel them, just like another coaster I will mention in a bit. But I can really feel these positive Gs and the pull, especially in the back row of these B&M inverts. So, is it an amazing coaster model? Perhaps I'm actually gonna place these right here. you look at all their coasters, you can't really put it in amazing. Then we got Velocicoaster right here. So we got the Intamin LSM launch coaster. Ooh, there's a lot of LSM launches out there. Once they called it the Intamin Blitz, the smaller scale launch. We all knew they are, every coaster is almost amazing here, but now they call it the LSM launch. So we got bigger coasters. We also got Red Force at Port Aventura, the Giga coaster, because it's 367 feet with an awesome LSM launch. Velocicoaster, amazing. We all know that's an amazing coaster. Batman Gotham City Escape, amazing. Tiger, amazing. And you know what? Intamin LSM launch coaster, perhaps the best coaster model in the whole world. They just know what they're doing. And I have actually recently also ridden Terran. And I wouldn't call Terran amazing, but that's one of these coasters I would put top of grade, because you can really rewrite Terran, but it isn't intense as Velocicoaster and the other ones, in my opinion. And now we actually got the B&M Giga coaster right here. I can see Leviathan, the big lift hill in the background right here. Oh, the B&M Gigas. They're better than the Intamin Hypers? I don't really think so. You know, Fury 325 might beat almost every Intamin Hyper / Mega coaster. But the other ones, Orion and Leviathan, they feel quite short because it's such a big coaster. I might actually place them here. Oh, they're better than the Mag Rides in my opinion. But in terms of quality, you got two okay coasters, two great coasters, and one amazing. And just like the B&M inverts, I would actually just place them here, because there's a lot more B&M inverts. Does that feel right, placing B&M inverts over? I don't really think so. So I'm gonna place the Gigas right here. And now we got the RMC single rail crazy roller coasters. They look very cartoonish because the intensity is just out of the roof. But we got these, what do you call it, comfort colors, just like on the Premier rides. They aren't really the greatest, but help me English. What can I say about this coaster model? Intense, whippy, fast, positive G-forces, insane drop, especially Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster. But I can't really rewrite these intense things, and the restraints are just, ooh, they are mid, not bad. But oh, you know, you got the bigger ones, just like the one that opened in Magic Mountain. So I would place it bottom of grade. Yeah, let's see how much hate I get about that one. And now we got the Aero Hyper coasters. And oh no, we got some rare Hyper coasters out there. And I think the three other ones of these Aero Hyper coasters, except Magnum XL200, those are just, in my opinion, especially the big one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, they might just tear it down, in my opinion. That isn't really a great ride, it's just mid. Overall, you have a great janky drop. But then you have Magnum XL200, a coaster I really love. The airtime is crazy, it isn't really that rough, it's just quite janky. Just because we got Magnum XL200 as an aero coaster, I would actually place this coaster model. I can't rank it higher than all of these coasters because we only have Magnum right here, but I would place it right there. And that's only because the other coasters, I don't really like them. And now we got a highly controversial one. We got the Giga coaster by Intamin, and there aren't really many of these coasters out there. We got the highly controversial Millennium Force, and I would call this coaster Millennium Forceless because I couldn't really feel anything except the first drop, and then, you know, the last airtime hill with a bit of pop. You got a speedy ride experience on this one, but then at King's Dominion you have a crazy roller coaster, Intimidator 305, and for the 2025 season it's called Pantherian, apparently with a new color scheme, and that's an amazing coaster. So we got a good coaster, amazing coaster. Intamin Gigas, we have Red Force, that's actually an Intamin Giga because it's 367 feet, but I'm gonna place it at the bottom of grade. That's because I'm a Millennium Force hater. And oh no, now we got a horrible roller coaster right here. An RCCA coaster, because I can see Son of Beast, and I've just heard all of these coasters are just so crazy radly rough. I've heard some people say Bandit and Movie Park. I think that's an RCCA. That's perhaps one of the worst coasters in the world. Oh, we all know this is gonna go in bad, bottom of bad. I would rather ride an Wild Mouse. I don't really know if that's Mag Rides, Arrow, or something else. Oh, no, that's not Arrow. But moving on, we actually got, Steel Vengeance, the hybrid coaster, the iBox from RMC, and all of these coasters are just great to amazing. Better than the Intamin LSM launch and the Extreme Spinner. I think they're better than the fourth dimension coaster model. Based on the amount of rides, I would place it here. Many of these, or some of these coasters are better than the Intamin LSMs, but we have so many Intamin LSM launch coasters that are just crazy. So I think I'm gonna, and then I can actually see the Racer, and that's from Kings Island, right? That's a PCC coaster, a traditional wooden coaster, and in terms of today's standard, the roller coaster experience is just mid, and the other PTCs are just, I don't really know what to say about this coaster model. I've only ridden the Racer at Kings Island. That's the only coaster I can think of. Better than the Flawless, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna place it at mid. And then the second to last coaster we got here, that's perhaps a GCI. I can see the low to the ground ride layout, and I really love the GCI coasters. I think in terms of quality, there are some of these GCIs are just way better than the gravity groups, but you also have some gravity group coasters like the Voyage, of course, that are better than many GCI coasters. But in terms of total amount of coasters, I think the GCIs are just overall better. They are way more smooth. I love what they do with the ride layout. They are perhaps mainly low to the ground, fast, floater airtime hills, speedy, whippy, perhaps also better than the single rail coaster by RMC. I'll actually place the GCIs up here. Yeah, just behind the Infinity coaster. And now in the end we have this coaster I thought was the gravity group at the start, but I don't really know. So please let me know in the comments what this coaster is. I can't really see it. I can't really zoom in. It just looks like a basic wooden roller coaster, and I can't really remember I can't really remember all the manufacturers I've gone through, especially those who have made a wooden roller coaster. So I think that's my final list. I think it looks okay. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this tier list thing. Perhaps a very lengthy video. I don't know if you want to watch it, but I think it was great. It was chill. I chill to make this coaster, and I could perhaps also make my own roller coaster list with some other things. So we got many ideas we could do with this tier list thing. So in the end of the day, I'm always gonna say bye bye.